failure. It's the right thing to do. It's accept. That's what makes you a champion.
I can't wait for Daddy to go. Dad, just go to the gym.
You in?
Yo.
There he is.
Hello, mate.
You good?
Good, man. I'm good. How you feeling?
Like death.
The opposite of me, mate. I feel great now.
Good. You enjoying the freedom?
Oh, man. It's, what, I think I'm like, I don't think, I know, I'm about like fucking 13 kilos up. I'm not even going mad either. I've just been eating like what I want, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like,
Nice. I'm a bit
jealous. You, man? So you're on your ass, are you?
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, clearly, for me, ultimately, I got to just come inside out now for the British. Like, but with, you know, being such a tall guy to have achieved what you've achieved in 6 fucking years, dude, that's, you've got to be able to sit back and respect that, you know, no matter who you are. So like, if you can emulate the same sort of progress over the next couple of years, dude, you don't even need to, you're not even comparing how you look now, it's how you can look. And that's the difference, really, isn't it? It's not necessarily going, where do I fit right now? If you can emulate the same sort of progress and add more tissue, your height is not going to be an issue if you can do that. Yeah.
I mean, well, that's a big if, isn't it? It's like, this is another real subject. I mean, you kind of spoke about this. I'm pretty sure we did in Inbox. Like, I'm 35 in 2 weeks. 2 weeks today, in fact. I'm 35. And like, how much more have I got in me? I feel great. Don't get me wrong. I feel fresh. I feel great. But, you know, am I really just going to abuse my body now for the next like 5 years to potentially get a medal? Like, it just feels like a lot. And I hate to say cynical because actually I'm very, very happy right now. And I would hate for it to come across like I'm a hoo-hoo, cry me a river. But I can't help but think like this is, it's a lot. It's a lot for me to put on another 3, 4, 5 kilograms of muscle. You know, what I'm going to have to do that. I absolutely love the lifestyle, but it just feels like a lot of stress for someone who's, if I was 25 right now, I would feel very, very different about it. But I'm 35, right? And I'm just trying to be realistic about it.
Don't you think it's miles on the clock, though? Not necessarily your age?
That's interesting. So that takes me to my next point. Well, the miles on the clock I racked up through sniffing cocaine over the years. So like, but before I was a bodybuilder, I feel like I abused myself, but in a different way. So I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I'm trying to be positive, but also trying to be realistic. And I just feel like over the years, I've abused myself in one way, shape, or form. And I'm like, shit, how long can I dance with death? How long can I dance with death? And I'm like, you know, like, I don't know. And maybe somebody is listening to this thinking you're going over the top, mate. Like, don't worry about it. But I feel fit and healthy, and I kind of just I want to live a long life. And I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
listen,
sorry,
I get that more than most. Only because I'm just texting Dan now to see what he is. Only because obviously for me, with me having kids, whilst my blood work says I'm okay, you tend to find that when things go wrong, you don't have warning signs. Some people are ignorant to it and they see that their blood pressure's up. Some people see that there's things that they could have managed better and then it bites them in the ass. But generally, there's a rule of thumb that people I speak to, the blood work has always come back fine, and all of a sudden, bang, out of nowhere, they're fucked. So ultimately, for me, I've always been very reserved in everything that I've ever used, supporting my bodybuilding, because I've also been realistic in my capabilities with my tone pec, that I sit firmly within the amateur ranks, and if I can progress within that, happy days. So I never felt the need to really abuse my body. But at the same time, I also, again, for the same reason, but I know where my ceiling is, I want to come away from bodybuilding for that very same reason, and the fact that my children deserve me to make that decision. Whilst my father died when I was 18 from an aneurysm, and he never bodybuilded, he was never in like a particularly unhealthy lifestyle. He was fit and healthy and was a gardener. People always say to me, well, why would you bodybuild? Because it's sort of, you know, given the circumstances. But he died having done none of that. So it's just getting that fine balance, you know, and having been in this sport for so long, the risk versus reward sort of swings back the other way, you know, whereas I used to think, well, I love it and I want to do it, and I'm not going to wonder what if, because my old man died anyway. So the truth is that it could happen to anyone. But as I'm getting older and as I'm getting to the point where my children are doing more clubs and things that they want to do, and I enjoy watching them doing their thing. For me, it's just that sort of scales are tipping the wrong way now.
Yes.
And if I hadn't had a torn pec, if I had been able to really sort of realize my potential in bodybuilding, maybe it would have been different. But it's not the case. I have to play the cards I was dealt with. I love bodybuilding. I'll always stay within bodybuilding. I'm thinking about taking up judging or whatever next year. Right. Welcome back to Bash Bros Podcast, episode 73. We are joined by one of the newest PCA pros, Ryan MACKINS, the sword collecting phenomenon. For those,
it's like fucking Ragnar, isn't he?
Yeah. Listen, where are we? Ryan MACKINS. Come on, internet. So if you're not following him, oh wait there, guys, this is a terrible form on my behalf.
You got my Instagram, you see I've been spamming the fuck out of everyone with my show day photos. I've been boring everyone to tears.
I don't know why. My sharing the screen option.
Oh, you haven't seen? Have another one then. Have another one.
Well, the thing is, they only last 24 hours, so you've got to top those motherfuckers up just in case.
Yeah, imagine if they forgot what I looked like.
Oh my God. They could do over 24 hours.
Yeah, it's serious business.
You want to have it so that when they close their eyes, it's burned into their retinas.
So this is the man himself. If you're not following him, head over, give him a follow.
That's a very excellent client transformations. If you want to plug your service.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 7 years coaching experience. To be honest with you, I mainly do lifestyle clients, but it's sort of the balance of power is sort of going towards more. But yeah, 7 years experience. Absolutely love my job. Love it.
The big man.
Yeah, there you go. That's the overall dude. He's fucking very good.
Yeah, man.
He is very good.
He's getting like really aesthetic looking physique, right?
Yeah, man. So listen, what we do is, even though a lot of people watching this will know who you are, give us the rundown, pal. Obviously, I met you quite a while ago, but what got you into bodybuilding?
He's bringing up the past, mate. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean the show in 2016 when I beat him.
That one.
That one. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna hold on to that one. Right. Give us a rundown, pal. What got you into it? What you know, everything, and then sort of whistle stop to where we are now.
Yeah, man. Right. Wanted to be a bodybuilder, and honestly, it's so cliche. I watched Terminator 2 when I was, oh God, I don't know, but I saw Arnold, clothes, boots, and motorcycles. That was it. So from then I was obsessed with it, and I kind of, I always wanted to be a bodybuilder, but I was always into like partying and going out, seeing what I kind of said a minute ago, John. So from 17 to about 27, it was lifting, drinking, sniffing, smoking, you know, like, and trying to balance the two. Until finally I realized, you know what, I really want to make a go of it. So 2015, I was 27. I started competing. And actually, that's how I met Dan. First time I ever met Dan was at my first ever show. He was coaching a guy who beat me, the bastard.
When was that?
South Coast UK BFF.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. That was,
you had Bartos.
I remember, yeah.
And he came first, I came second.
I remember.
So yeah, I saw Dan backstage and I was like, damn. Like, I realized how far I was away from it all, you know. But yeah, anyway, first show I came second. I was in Classic. I made it to the British finals, so UK BFF British finals, and I didn't place. And I was like, shit. Like, for some reason, actually, no. Like everyone else, basically, I felt like I was a little bit above my station. I thought, this is it. I'm going places. And then I kind of got a bit of a rude awakening. Went to the British finals, didn't place. 2015, I did Class 1, my first Class 1 show with PCA. So it's one of their first shows. Went to the British finals, which is then when I met you, 2016 British finals. That was my 4th show. I probably shouldn't have done it, mate. I remember you and I, we saw each other in the, it was Wetherspoons, wasn't it, in the morning?
Yeah, man.
You having breakfast with your family, and I was with my girlfriend, and we were talking about Andy Pickering. We were saying about how there was like better guys there, and we were like, whatever. Anyway, in place there again, and you beat me, you bastard. And I held on to that one for 6 years.
Yeah, dude, I've got a small wins, man. I've got to hold on to that one now, especially after a more recent form.
So yeah, that was that. And then instead of giving you the rundown of every single show, in the meanwhile, from that to that, I've done 17 shows, won 9, come second 4 times, and then I've not placed the rest. 17 shows deep. And as I say, yeah, 9 show wins now. And this year in particular, for whatever reason, maybe it's just time, maybe it's just whatever, things just seem to be clicking into place. Now I'm a PCA pro. But do you know what? Like, it's a bit of a controversial one, because when you say pro, people get real butthurt because it's not my FPB. No, I'm not claiming it is. I'm not claiming it is. But I am very, very proud of what I've achieved this year. Yeah, man, I absolutely love competing. I live, breathe it. And if anything, it's been a bit of I have to hold myself back. I'll compete all the time. I prefer prep. So I'm one of those people that's a bit of a serial competitor.
You fucking hate eating.
Oh, fuck, mate.
Fucking hate eating.
I'm like, so I'm
binge about it often.
I'm maybe 6 or 7 days post show, and I'm already like. So yeah, I don't know how off season's going to be great, but for me to make a mark on the pro stage, I'm going to need to do it. So yeah.
So what's the next show? What have you decided on a show? Have you decided how long the off season is going to be?
Do you know what, mate? It's been really weird. Like, everyone's saying, what's next? I'm like, motherfucker, let me enjoy the moment. Like I'm in this moment. I've not even got out of this little fucking like thing yet. So I've not even looked at the pro schedule. I've not looked at anything. It would be nice to do roughly this sort of time next year. So give me a good, up until the end of this year, bulking in a surplus. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of leaving it in my coach's hands, because when it comes to myself, I'm not very good at this kind of stuff. I feel like I'm good with other people, but when it comes to self-diagnosis and sort of making my own minds, I'm basically a child.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the great benefits of having a coach, is that you might not even realise like what your weakness is. And the generic weakness that most people is like, you must train harder, you must diet harder and stuff like that. Sometimes that's people's strengths. Like that's how they focus. That's like the bit that isn't harder. And actually you didn't realize the weakness because it's not the generic one. It takes a coach to actually go, oh no, you need to know when to pull back or when to eat more or when to like.
Hey, Dan, do you know what? I'm going to give you credit on this one, mate. Like in fact, I'm going to make the statement. Throughout my bodybuilding career, Dan has arguably been one of the most influential people for me. He said so many bits of information that I've sort of taken, like little nuggets of information. He's said loads of things over the years that have really stuck with me. And one of them was what he's just said there. It's knowing when not to push.
He's frozen on a really unfortunate look.
I thought I'd pissed him off. I was trying to pay him a compliment, and he's like,
"So yeah, I think that maybe your compliment may have given him a heart attack." Look, but yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, but sometimes it does take it having the advice from someone like Dan to really hear it. Like, you're on mute at the moment, brother.
Fuck, I fucking crashed, but I don't know at what point.
I paid you a compliment and you just started staring at me, mate. It's weird.
Yeah, I know that happens.
Done it again.
Yeah, fuck off.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus Christ. It's normally my internet as well, so Dan's on one today.
Oh, shit.
Fuck my life.
Well, we'll get there in the end. No, but yeah, sorry, you were saying, mate, sorry.
Yeah, no, listen, it's sometimes it does take that. And I mean, the problem you've got at the moment is you are on an all-time high, and it's all well and good, but the real reason we do this sport is to look at it, you know, try and be, you're never going to be fully happy with how you look and how you, and having the advice from the right people is the important stuff, you know, and like for me, for a very long time, you know, I've found it hard to get that balance. Some shows I've gone too hard, some shows I've not gone hard enough. And it's just getting that balance right. And that's essentially what Dan does for me, really. What he's teaching me is nothing that I don't already know. And the same for you with Martin, no doubt. But it's just to know, have that reassurance that, yes, a little bit more, please, or no, you're doing a bit much. And that can make a huge difference at the end of the, you know, the prep.
Yeah, it's funny. And actually, this sort of would take me to a point, you know, with coaching, you know, and you help people as well. They believe that they're getting a better service if they have more changes. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's mad. And if you say to a client, like, keep going as you are, they're like, oh, you know, and it's disappointed, aren't they? Because they want more. Yeah. But like, I would honestly say for the last 4 to 6 weeks, Martin didn't change a thing. The only things he changed were when I was like carb loading or whatever. But my baseline diet was what it was. The training never changed. It was just, it's like know when to change, know when to fucking just do the do, right? Yeah,
man. This prep, Dan's probably taken small increments of food away from me, but there's not been any wholesale changes in my entire prep. It's literally, as we've gotten closer, he's taken a bit of carbs out here and there, and that's kind of how we've rolled with it. But essentially,
it's needed. So it's needed.
But yeah, in some cases, you're going to give a baseline diet to somebody, and it's completely off the mark. But luckily, on this occasion, Dan gave me a baseline diet, and it based on his experience and knowledge, and it seemed to have it worked well. So I'm not the sort of person, I like having that regimented routine. I could tell you my diet off the top of my head because it's been that way for so long. But I've even gotten to that point now where it was so efficient that I didn't even need to deplete. It got towards the end that essentially that my metabolism was firing enough, and he would give me the strategic refeeds that would mean that the calories that he had me on would essentially deplete me, which I know it sounds stupid, but I've done preps where I've done 0 carbs, 0 fat, 2 hours of cardio a day, and it fucking sucked. I'm doing like depletion for me now is 200 grams of carbs, which is mental. It still sucks because there's still depletion. It still hurts, but that shows the difference in approaches and the fact that ultimately no two preps are the same.
Hey, do you know what? And I feel like
my internet work again, by the way.
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
I don't know what's happened. The box like exploded.
Yeah, I just think as most experienced bodybuilders will probably report something similar. In their earlier years, they pushed it really fucking hard. Fuck all food, loads of cardio, you know the drill. And then as you go on, you realize that that's not necessary. And actually, you put yourself in a hole, this metaphorical hole that you kind of almost can't get out of, especially if you're a super heavy. You know, it's not a how depleted contest can I get. It's a fucking bodybuilding competition, you know, and you need to support muscle.
And also the other thing on top of that is that as you get bigger, your basal, like, you know, rate is so much higher, and so you're trying to run off the things. But I think as well, it comes down to confidence as well, like being able to actually pitch those things in small increments and try and rinse the most out of the small changes to keep the toolbox full. Whereas, like, if you're starting out, obviously, like, you don't get a drop the first week, you know, not having the confidence to know that it will come, it's not as linear as you want, and looking for the right changes and just going, fuck, let's drop like 500 calories right now. You know, and like you said, you soon run out of options, don't you? Because once someone's doing 2 hours of cardio and eating 0 carbs, like, your prep's for over. Like, if you're not in shape at that point, it's over, you're fucked.
Where'd you go? Yeah.
You know, but everyone's different, aren't they? They have to drill. Like, some people have to eat nothing. Some people do have to eat nothing.
Yeah, and that's it. And people will be like, well, how come that person's eating more than me? Well, they're not you. They're not you. Like, there's no one rule across the board, is there? What you and I have to do and Donnie has to do is, it's all different. Get there. As long as you get there, it doesn't matter how you get there, right? Just get there.
Yeah. Well, Nathan D'Asher is proof of that. If we did what Nathan D'Asher did, we'd turn up looking like Mr. Blobby.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But you know, that's the problem with Instagram. You know, you see what other people are doing. Actually, to be fair though, they only show you what they want to show you, right?
Oh yeah.
That I'm having pizza and getting lean. Okay, yeah, cool. You know, if you want true condition, then you know, unless you're Nathan D'Asher, you're probably not doing that, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You're eating the rest the same as everyone else. We're all fucking eating whitefish, rice, chicken, fucking beef. Like, we're all eating the same shit, let's be honest.
Well, and the thing that Johnny brought up is like, whether you're eating 200 grams of carbs or 0 carbs, if you're actually in shape, it's the body fat that hurts. It doesn't matter like how you got there. Even if you're eating 500 grams of carbs, if that's what gets you in shape, you're fucking dead. Like, because the body fat's what hurts.
This is quite an interesting point, actually. People always assume
Mate, this fucking internet.
It's gone again.
Dan brings up a good point there. It's like people very often assume it's to do with how many carbs you're having, about how good you feel. No. Where you're at right now, you're fucking lean and your glutes are straight in, so it's painful.
Yeah, man. And
it's shit.
The thing is, right, like in the past, if somebody had given me 1,000 gram carb feed up, that'd have taken me sort of probably 5-6 days to clear. Like at the moment, my metabolism is so efficient. He gives me 1,000 grams. Like the next day, I'm probably at 2 pounds heavier. And the day later, I'm lighter. And that's when you know things are firing, you know?
Yeah.
But if anything, I'm at that point now where ultimately the quality of my life outside of bodybuilding is starting to suffer. So I know I'm close to the end of it, like, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, when you know that you're ready for the next step, whatever the next thing is, you're ready for it. There you go.
Yeah.
I always find with bodybuilding, I always want the next bit, which is actually it's great. So when I'm right at the arse end of prep, I'm really ready for an off season, and then when I'm off season and I'm taking food, I'm really ready for prep. I'm always ready for the next bit, and it's actually really, really nice. Rather than I feel like it never gets stale. Yeah. I'm always craving the next bit. It's great. You know.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, though. That's when you know you truly pushed it, because the extremities of prep, if you get to the end and you feel like you haven't really sort of gotten, you know, really sort of cooked it, then generally you'll just want to keep going and things will start to get worse. But if you know you've come in, you've cooked it as best you can, and you can get in and get out, get back in the off season, that's normally the best way of doing it. But some people get that wrong, don't they? You know, and whilst I'm making hay while the sun is shining, doing an extra couple of shows in between now, I know I'm at the end of prep, you know.
And there's that worry of like potentially like looking tired, looking fatigued. You know what I mean? How do you feel like the question goes to you as well, Dan. Like, how do you feel like you're managing that at the moment?
Well, in a sense that ultimately it's difficult, because with my job and the children, I've always maintained that I wouldn't allow myself to be in this state for too long, because whilst I'm very self-aware and I do make those conscious efforts to not allow them to affect it directly, it does. So you can say what you want, it does. You end up trying to save energy. You talk a bit less. You move a bit less. So for me, ultimately, I'm at that point now where I'm mentally exhausted and physically exhausted, and I know that I'm at the end. Not necessarily because of the prep itself as well. I just need to get back to a bit of normality, because it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't. It's one of those things. It's a hobby, and the enjoyment of it starts to fade away for me when I feel like this for too long. So 2 weeks for me, I think that's about right, and then I'll be happy getting fat.
Yeah. Go on, sorry, Dan.
No, just I was agreeing. There is a point as well where, like, remember that like mental fatigue is just as damaging to your physique as physical, if not actually the same thing, because one leads to the same thing. So you have to play that ball in prep carefully. Even when prepping someone, you know, if you pitch things a bit wrong and fuck them up mentally and destroy them mentally too early, then they'll never make it anyway. So you have to make that balance, and that's why everyone else is different psychologically. You must get it as well, Ryan. You have to pitch people psychologically as well as physically, you know, and know when to play certain cards.
Yeah, you can if someone you know, I don't want to like sound like I'm like being derogatory towards anyone, but like sometimes you can tell when they're a bit weaker in the mind, and you know that if you were to push things too far, like too early, you're going to lose them. So.
Yeah.
I've got a guy at the moment. He's a little bit fragile. He's very, very good. He was on my Instagram, actually. He's very, very good. I know that I could lose him very easily, so I'm managing him really, really carefully. 5 weeks out, he was like, let's go. And I'm like, ease off. You need to calm down, because you will put yourself in a hole. So it's just ease off. It was trying to manage that, yeah, psychologically as well as physically.
Yes, there's the other end of the scale as well, then though, because I think initially when I first started working with Dan, I think I was giving him feedback a little bit too much, and he'd be like, "Stop digging for a cheat meal, John." And I'm like, "I'm not, but I'm just telling you, I feel like shit." And he's like, "Shut up."
I think my response was, "But it's a feeling." I've looked at your data, and it's just a feeling. None of it's real.
I've looked at your data and shut the fuck up.
You're still fat,
and you are still fat. So but
like
as well, like but then it ascended, and then it caught. The gears caught, and then and we're good.
What I say to my clients is like, with all due respect, your check-in usually is an emotional response. It's usually you telling me something based on like your immediate emotion. So you might look at your check-in video and then immediately be upset, happy, sad with something, and then you write it down like, it's not necessarily an accurate representation. You're not looking at it objectively.
I know that
with this emotion, you know.
I know that Dan Welburn does a good thing because he coaches a lot of girls, which at certain points are slightly more emotional, maybe, although actually not in my experience, but that's another story. They do their written check-in before their physical check-in so that they can't look at their video and be sad.
Yeah.
So they write like how the week is done, and then they do it like the next day.
Yeah, my girlfriend's with Dan. So yeah, Thursday night she does the check-in.
Yeah.
Friday morning she does the video.
Yeah. So you can't have that like meltdown about like,
yeah,
fucking tie-in's fallen off or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, when people are buying for some food or something extra, or like almost feeling a bit sorry for himself, tough luck, you know, within reason. Like if someone's really on their ass, okay, fair enough. But like,
yeah, but the data will show you that. It's like,
exactly.
Cool, we can give it to you if you're mentally broken. We can, you know, okay, cool. Then we'll like step it back. But ultimately, here's the physical data. Here's what that means. We're not there. So, soz.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but you know, if you want to walk in the park, then you probably, you know, this is probably the wrong hobby.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The thing is as well though is this that obviously with me being so like 14 years competing, I can't help but give that information. And I think I was at the start, Dan. I think Dan, it took him a while to figure it out. I was just probably trying to give him the information from in my head more so. Like I'm happy to. Like if Dan says shit on toast, I'm eating shit on toast. You know, I wouldn't. What's the point in having a coach unless you listen? But the reality is I was trying to give him too much information. In the end, I realized that he just didn't want to know.
There's some things I want to know.
Yeah, of course.
And like, you know, and as well, people do have things in prep that are huge, and the mental stress of impacts, you know, that are big do need taking into account because of the fatigue buildup that can then accumulate into the physical outcome. It is a thing. But you do have to have that conversation about, okay, you know, if you're not coping, we do this, there is a potential that you have to realign your expectations. That's probably the most important conversation that needs to happen with anyone, is constantly checking in and realigning the expectation of the outcome based on like the progression of the prep, where it be a physical like thing or a mental breakdown or an issue in life, because these things do happen, but it might have an impact in the end result. You need to like make sure you do that. I think that's how some people fall out with their coaches, because the coach has an idea of like, okay, this is fucked up, it's not going to be as good, but you haven't said that to the client. They're still expecting to come in 100. Yeah. You know, like Johnny pulled the 4-week prior classic. That was my favorite. Like, can we do a show 4 weeks like earlier? I was like, yeah, we can do it, but you're going to be 4 weeks out. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, that was a relationship based decision, which actually ironically bit me in the ass, but it turned out okay. So
yeah, it was all right. The 40, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, considering we were early.
That was the Southwest.
Yes, yeah.
I jumped. I was early. I was 3 weeks early as well, and Martin was a bit like, right, you can do it, but just like we're not going to do anything too crazy. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Well, right. Me and Johnny's pulled another one on me. We won't let you know what it is. he's done that to me again.
Fuck it.
There's a bit of a theme going on here, mate.
There is a theme. I can't do. The only time when I've come in half baked was the graftism, and I got absolutely fucking destroyed. I'm not sure, and I thought I was harder than I actually am. I was like 8th, wicked. I'll go to the Arnold with that.
Well, yeah, but then you came back and it was quite different. It was quite different, wasn't it?
It was a risk. It was a risk mentally.
Yeah.
But then as well, nothing to lose. Everyone written me off, so it was all right.
Yeah, yeah.
That old burnt-faced red cunt. Ate forever.
Well, you're not so burnt faced now. You've got a nice glow about you,
mate. Not gonna lie to the viewers at home, I've done some tanning jabs, and they work.
Hey, what? Do you know? I was gonna say you look different. Like, what is going on?
Mate, well, the only reason I did it is because I got this rosacea, and I thought, you only get married once. Do I really want to look like I've been apple bobbing in a fucking fat fryer? Like, let's try and like not look horrendous. So I thought I'd keep my weight at like 270. Like, and then like I'll try and like, and obviously now I look sexy as fuck, and now my DMs have just got exactly the same amount of DMs as they have, which is none. I
went up and did legs with Dan today, and well, it wasn't legs, it was hamstrings, but we went up and had a session. I turned up, I was like, what looks different? He looked like he'd just done a show, you know, and you've still got the tan left over. I was like, what the fuck's happened there? But yeah,
I'm gonna work it out. There's something going on though, but here we go.
It definitely looks worse in the broom closet, but yeah.
Like I said to you, Dan, you want to be careful, man, because I did it for my wedding years ago, and I look back at the photos and I look like a different ethnicity.
Yeah, no, I've definitely reached the pinnacle of this. I think otherwise you start to look a bit muddy, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a client. Oh my god, he goes mad on this stuff. Like I don't know. I don't even know what nationality it looks like because his eyelids have gone like dark. You know. Like, he's got like dark rings around his eyes. He looks, like.
Yeah, there was a guy round our way that actually was a bit naughty, and he got arrested. And in the paper, he was described as a large Indian man, and he's definitely Caucasian.
Right, let's do some questions. There wasn't a huge amount because we kind of spread this. So the podcast was originally intended for the one weekend. I fell asleep on the sofa, so that is my doing. I do apologize. And then obviously Ryan was competing at the Universe last weekend, so we had Paul Scarborough on. So there's been a bit of a delay on those, but I did have an anonymous question which I wanted to ask you.
An anonymous question?
Yeah.
It's just from you, innit? Let's be honest.
No, it came from a friend of mine.
Oh, a friend of yours?
Yeah, well, I'll say Dave Sutton. It's not even anonymous anymore. He wants to know, what does it feel like having the third best back on the Bash Bros podcast?
Oh,
shit.
Hold on a minute.
Hold on. Oh. What are they trying to do here?
Do you know what? Like, I'm glad to be able to talk about it. And I was talking to you via inbox at the time. There's really no animosity. I think sometimes it comes across like you're angry. I'm not even slightly. But when you write that, I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna respond.
You were defending yourself furiously.
Exactly. But I also defend your right to be able to say it. It's cool.
It's a democracy. We can slag everyone's backs off. Mate, I fucking love it. I love it in bodybuilding. I love this thing that Jay and Johnny have going on at the moment as well. It's all so fucking weird. We're just in pants, tanned. Everyone's forgotten that. You remember like the first time when someone was like, do you want to do bodybuilding? You're like, fucking stand in pants, dickhead, mate. That's fucking well weird. And now we're like, yeah, I've got mania fucking quad and fucking hell. We've lost the fucking plot. We've completely lost our shit. Like, it's okay to be like, yeah, those wet look trunks are like solid, mate. Yeah, the way that they reflect the light, like, the diamantes on your like pants. We've completely lost our shit. It's covered socials because we put all this stuff in social and then it just shits it back into our eyes via someone else. And you think that this is normal. It's fucked up, mate. And everyone's like, yeah, you wait till I'm naked on stage and fucking
Just you wait.
Just you wait. And then, like, you know, what's the worst thing that you're going to happen? Like, you're going to not get a trophy. Like, you're going to be okay.
But they're like, everyone, watch out. 2023. It's like, what? You honestly think everyone's going to be shitting themselves?
Yeah.
You're going to diet down, get a tan on, and put on some frilly pants. No, it's not that scary. It isn't that scary, mate.
People are barricading their doors up in case you break into their house and do a pose down whilst you're trying to hang out with your mum.
Like fucking windows are smashing, fire hydrants are fucking like none of that shit's happening. Do you know what's happening? We're doing this on stage.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
Yeah, and then someone's going to go, I like that one. Do you like that one? Yeah, I like that one more. And they go, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was like for that one. So
yeah.
Anyway, next.
Apples and oranges. Next one. The next one was, given all the prepping, have you spent most of the last year being able to get a boner or not being able to get a boner?
We need Amy in. Don't trust her.
Do you know what? So Amy was prepping too for the universe, right?
Oh, she got the massivest bonus.
100%.
100%.
I was just sucking her off the whole time.
Yeah, I know how it is. Sometimes.
Right, so I was just wanking off her clip.
Yes. Hero mode.
Fuck.
But on a serious note, thank fuck she was prepping too, because been off the menu for a good fucking 6 weeks. But it's been blessed. It's been blessed. Like, we just turn the light off, not dead, and we're done. Honestly, I feel like a girl that wasn't on prep, I feel like this would be a big problem, but Amy got it. She got it, mate.
To be honest with you, gents, there weren't any other questions.
Oh, come on.
Right. I went on the page, and one of them had like 100 comments.
Yeah.
I thought, what the fuck? Why am I that?
I think it's the Bash Bros loyalty. They're like, well, obviously Ryan's got a beef with John, so we can't ask him questions because he's, do you know what I mean? He's the arch enemy. So
yeah, I get it.
I guess I kind of have a question just about, like, not a question, maybe like long-term goals. You talk about like being the pro thing, and what I wanted to bring up about that, and I talked about it being a NABA pro as well, like, is that, okay, because it's not a real pro card, it's like, okay, but it pretty much deletes the whole amateur league. So any regional show, like, you're out. So it is still a step up because you're banned from all of them. Yeah. So, like, I can't do amateur PCA stuff. You can't do amateur NABA stuff. You can usually cross over. They usually have a good thing going on there, or you can apply. So it is a thing because you now have to step up. And I mean, NABA Pro was never really a thing like that. I remember I did get an invite to the universe, but it didn't fit in. And so, are you thinking about the Two Bros thing, or are you gonna stick, or you not thought about it?
So firstly, to mirror what you just said, it's a thing, right? It's not the thing that people all talk about, but it's a thing, and I've certainly taken it seriously. So, in my opinion, yes. Now, as you just mentioned, I've deleted the amateur ranks, and I'm now looking for pro stuff. So, yeah, I've stepped up. Do I want to be? Oh, God, this is controversial. I'm just going to fucking say it. Do I like Two Bros? No, I really fucking don't. I don't like. I don't get a good feeling from it. So for me, bodybuilding is all about enjoyment and fun. I do it for fun. I just love the lifestyle. I live and breathe it, and it's fun. Okay. Any time I've ever had any affiliation with Two Bros, or compete with them, or I don't know, it feels like the fun's gone.
Yeah, it's just a money making fucking corporation. That's all it is. There's no personal touch at all.
Yeah. And that's my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. That's my opinion. And how I see my future going is not necessarily that direction. I find.
But don't worry. Once we've aired this, it definitely won't be.
You're done. You're done. I'm not saying never say never, but it's just that's not the direction I've ever thought about. To be honest, people seem to want to push me in that direction. They've been saying, "You going for your pro card? You going for your pro card? You going for your pro card?" I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm fucking up. I never saw myself as the level I'm at right now. I never thought I would be where I'm at. I didn't. I thought that I was just kind of good, but not actually good enough to take the step up. And I've taken the step up, and I didn't expect that about myself. I didn't think I could do it.
I think that's cool. Like, that's actually exactly how I felt. Like, the British, I was like, like I remember like going from like, oh, I just want to like place at a regional. Like every time that I did better, I was like, oh fucking hell. So that's why I keep just going, well, I'm going to do that, because even if I don't have this like I believe and manifest and all that, I don't have that. I have, oh fucking hell, did that.
Yeah.
That was fucking weird. And like
yeah.
You know, so I share that. The Two Bros thing for me, I don't really like being on stage, and so I like Two Bros because they do run a tight show. And so and the Arnold, I mean obviously it's different. The Arnold was good.
It was. I know. Okay.
But the PCA Pro show was amazing. And I watched it on the live stream, and the live stream, like compared with the Arnold, was amazing. It was like HD. It like worked. Like it was really good, and it was well filmed. And the pro guys at the PCA show were fucking good.
So the question I asked Ryan before you jumped on was, my my question is essentially, once PCA have enough pro bodybuilders, will they split it into weight categories or height categories to fall in line with their amateurs, or will it always just be an open show? Because obviously the problem is for Ryan, we spoke about this before you jumped on, is if he's going to stand next to the likes of Dean White, do you know what I mean? It's a big disparity there in terms of height and the amount of tissue that he needs to hang, you know?
I mean, I've always avoided Dean White like the plague. I don't ever want to stand next to someone like him. He's outrageous. And I don't know, stab me, I reckon Dean White could win a pro show like next year.
Yeah. I agree.
You know,
he's insanely good.
It's like, you know, if you want to be an absolute cunt, bit more chest, then it's done. Like it is that good. You know, and he didn't have the cleanest run in, you know. I talked to him, he's a solid guy, he's a phenomenal bodybuilder. You know, and it's funny because he also doesn't rate himself either. Like he doesn't rate himself. If there's someone we need to gas up to do it for the UK, it's fucking Dean.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta go, come on, man, come on, man,
gas him up. Some people like getting gassed up like fucking 6 stone bikini wenches that have never done a show, gassing up the wrong people.
Yeah, man. That's the area. So what Johnny said is like. Is there much point of me ever, you know, let's say there's 5, 6, 7, 8 guys all similar-ish to like the Dean White level. How am I ever going to fit in that? I'm not really ever going to do any damage there, am I? So is it pointless? You know, should I reject the card and just go and do amateur shows again? And I don't know.
I think never do that. There's something about that annoys me.
Yeah.
It's like,
there's some guys in Wales.
It's someone else's turn. It's someone else's turn.
Yeah, over the years, there was guys who handed back, like remember when James Llewellyn handed back his IFBB pro card and started like winning all the amateur shows again? That never sat well with me.
Lee Priest came and won the NABBA universe, didn't he?
Like come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 50. But I think if you've got it, and if you've got the pro card and that's the end of the line, just do it for fun then. Do
you know what though, Dan? And I appreciate that. However, fun for me is not. I can't. Okay, so on the weekend, so you watch the pro show. Okay, you watch me get moved to the end.
Yeah.
And then you watch me get moved to the other end.
Yeah.
and in my head I was like, motherfucker. I felt. I'm not going to say I felt embarrassed. I didn't feel embarrassed, but I was just like I was up here. I was having a great day, and then I felt deflated. Very deflated, and I feel
and it's a shame that did that because it was a dip in, you know, and you should still carry that because that was your goal to win, and this year's been amazing, and you just went and dipped your toe, and it's a new beginning. The whole new thing is a new beginning. I just think like to dip back into for people that dip back into the amateur things, it's like it's someone else's turn, you know, you know, step up and just roll through. And you know, if that is the end, I'm not talking about you specifically. If that is the end, then it's the end. Like
he's got enough swords anyway. It's all right.
He's got enough swords, but you've got, you know, you've still got time.
Yeah, like mileage on the clock, as Johnny said before you were here. Like I don't feel tired. I feel like there's more in me, right? But here's something that you've taught me as well over the years, Dan. Like you've been a big advocate of this one. It's like you don't want people gassing you up for no fucking reason. You need people to actually be honest with you, right? Now, I've had people since the show telling me, to be honest, mate, I would have put you, maybe third or fourth in the pro show. And I'm like, look, is that reality or is that you just trying to be nice to your friend? So I'm thinking, now I'm like, wow, hold on, maybe in a year or so, maybe I could actually make a mark in the pro league. I don't know. Like PCA. I don't know.
So you want me to find out?
Yeah.
And the thing is I think I know you enough that you will do it. So we'll just see you there.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know. He's already doing it.
There's fuck all chance that you're not doing it. So we're just going to find out.
So I've got a question, and I'm intrigued from a personal perspective. Your experience with diuretic use. What have you used successfully, unsuccessfully? What did you use?
So, so Martin's protocol, since I've been with Martin, I've done 5 shows with Martin now. And his protocol is he uses aldactone and diazide. These are the two. My opinion on it is, he'll be fairly modest with it, and he'll start loading from maybe like 3 days out, 4 days out potentially. And when I say loading, I'm using that word like loosely. I don't mean loading. So it'd be like half a diazide here, quarter diazide here, it'd be here, there, and everywhere. My opinion is that it's actually worked really, really well. I personally used it years gone by, but I don't think the variables are the same because I was not in shape enough. There was too many things wrong with the other preps for it to necessarily be an accurate representation, if that makes sense.
It does really need to be the icing. It does. It's like people that are saying they're holding water. It's only going to be visible water if you're fucking in.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So for me to give my opinion on it, when the variables are managed correctly and everything's in place, I think it's fucking fantastic. And what my experience with diazides is that it's incredibly good and it gives you that extra sort of finish. It's absolutely not how I would do it. Martin's peaking protocol was fucking, for me, it's scary. Like, because you try so hard and I felt like I was in the best shape of my life. And then he sends through the protocol, and I'm like, ugh. But I just did it. I took away thought, and I just did it, and it worked.
So water, how do you run your water alongside that? So if you load in so obviously aldactone is something that you would load up because it's got such a long sort of half-life, and then obviously a diazide is obviously sort of in and out of the system. So in terms of loading that up over a couple of days, obviously the risk you're running is with aldactone. It sort of takes all the sodium out of the muscle, and obviously spares potassium. And when you carb up on a lot of potassium-rich foods, it can cause you to have excess amounts of potassium in your blood, which can cause issues with your heart, etc. But then at the other end of the scale, if you're using those sort of diuretics that are longer, if you push it too far, it's impossible to pull it back in a short turnaround with aldactone. Obviously, diazide less so. So in terms of how you manage the water, I'm assuming you loaded in. Where was the reductions? Was there a reduction? Did you keep it in? Did you take it out?
Yeah. Water was loaded around anywhere between 6 to 8 liters for, let's say the show was on Sunday. From like Monday, Tuesday onwards, it was 6 to 8 liters every day until, and this is the other thing that fucked me up as well, because I've always been of the opinion cutting water too soon is going to be a negative, and then trying to catch a pump, on the show day is going to be fucking hard. Martin cuts water roughly midday on Saturday. Yeah, so Martin cut water 1 p.m. Saturday. I cut water, and then I was actually physically on stage at 2:30 on Sunday. It was just over 24 hours, and then with each meal, it was 200 milliliters.
Wow. With aldactone?
Aldactone was not in the universe. It was in for Southwest in the United.
Okay.
So in this one, no aldactone was used. It was half a diazide on Saturday morning, half a diazide before bed, and then a quarter of a diazide mid-morning. Yeah, half, quarter. Water was cut at 1 p.m. and then 200 mils with each feeding. It was probably 6 mils, so that would have been just over a litre.
Yeah, which is enough to keep the water in the muffler.
Yeah. But what I will say is that's not how I would do it. It seemed to fucking work. It seemed to work. I was drying out the whole time and barely any water was going in. I was pissing all the time and I was thinking, fuck me, it's actually working. I woke up show day, my glutes were straightened like they'd never straightened before. I took a video and I put on.
Yeah.
And it was like, from a personal perspective, I'd never seen it like that. I thought, shit, it's actually.
Do you feel you compromised any fullness and size doing that?
Yeah, to be honest. And I think your weak areas are the areas that suffer. My weak area is my chest. And I do feel like when I look back at some of my shots, and in fact the judges' feedback as well, it was chest.
Yeah, that is the thing. You're weak when you play the flat, like the in. It's the weak areas that flatten. I mean, even Hollingshead had issues like that with his upper body. Not that they're weak, but you know what I mean, weaker. So it pulled his balance out, like in the earlier days of his pro kind of game.
There are certain body parts that sort of stay full. You know, you're genetically gifted with them, right?
Yeah, it's my legs. Like if I start flattening out, that's what flattens out first.
Yeah.
You know, so it does do a thing. So the thing that I'm confused about, the aldactone, like, was playing in the background.
That was for Southwest, yes. Aldactone was used on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and then the Southwest was on Sunday.
Oh, and then you switched to.
Yes.
Okay.
But I was in a different position come Universe. He believed that I needed it for then, and then when I was in Universe, I was probably like the most depleted and lean I've ever been in my life. Maybe like 3 or 4 days out, I was fucking like I was on my ass, but like in a good way, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
So did you carb load earlier on in the week or later in the week? How did that run with the water cut and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So I depleted. I did a fat load. Went up to 180 grams of fat and 120 grams of carbs on Tuesday. And mine was like, nah, we're good to go. He goes, I don't want to pull too much off. He goes, let's start carb loading you. So Wednesday I started carb loading. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I did 4 days in a row. Each day was roughly 1,000 grams of carbs. 850, 1,000, like that. And again, it's just not how I would play it. Honestly, it was freaking me out, to be honest with you. But
you had that one day. You had that 1 day in hand, right?
Yes.
He left you to Saturday just in case.
So basically, yeah, he doesn't tell me what's going on. He just says, send me the video based on what happens, and then we do that. I kept losing weight. So I chucked in the first day. I chucked in 1,000 grams, 850, sorry. And I lost like 1 kilo. Then the next day I put in 1,000 and I lost 0.2 kilo. And I was just like, and he was like, mate, you're cooking. He goes, let's fucking go. So, and then the night before as well, we chucked in a Five Guys, large Five Guys and large fries and shit. So it was 1,000 grams of carbs plus a Five Guys.
See, it sounds nice. I fucking hate that shit.
It was actually a lot, mate. And to be honest, it sort of worked well for me post. I haven't got these mad cravings because he gave me so much food, so I'm sort of all right. Like, do you know what I mean? I was kind of full. Even on show day, he said, "Go and squirt some jam in your mouth before the pump up," and I was literally felt a bit sick.
So do you find you were like struggling with constipation and stuff then, though?
Nothing at all, like at all. The only thing was, sorry, Amy, is I was farting like fuck. It was fucking mental. Like it was weird. So I thought my digestion was up, but no, it was just a bit of wind, and I was fine. Yeah.
That's
so that was on your carb up. You were just a guffy mess of that's bad, isn't it?
I had the fan on me, dripping with sweat, farting, and Amy was like, "What's wrong with you? What the fuck?"
So what were the carb sources?
Cream of rice, potato, and jasmine rice. And oats exclusively. That was just that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So about six or seven meals a day. It's like I said, it's forgetting what you think and what you know, because it was just so different to what I would do. But I love that as well. I love that it was so different to what I would do, and it's the best shape I've ever been in. So it kind of almost was like, oh, fuck that, Ryan. Like, what do you know, sort of thing. So
yeah. Every day is a fucking school day.
Yeah, man.
And it's proof. It's proof that if you're in, you're in. You know, and like Dan was telling me before, you know, generally, you know, you can't fill that hole, no matter how hard you try, really. But if your metabolism's on fire like that, my biggest problem is I've inherently always like sort of under-eaten, like in the off season even as well. And the first time for the PCA show where we competed together, Dan carb loaded me, and I ended up with you know, my stomach felt like it was scarred afterwards. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and it wasn't even particularly that heavy. You know, one day we went up to 1,200 grams, I think. The next day I literally had to wait, like, so I had to go for a walk for like 2 hours to just be able to put myself in a position where I could even eat anything the next morning, even though I hadn't actually put on that much weight. But then the carb up for the Welsh, it went down quite easily. So
it's never exactly the same, you know.
Yeah, just playing it as you go. But
like the furnace, it's, you know, it's like, you've seen it, you've done enough preps of this stuff, like, and then your body, or you've experienced it all yourselves, your body goes, oh, we're doing that. We're going to do the thing where we just lose loads of weight. Shit, I'm in. You didn't tell me. Okay, let's do that. Like, and there's a point that just goes, yeah. And you're just like, oh, fuck. And then, like, as a coach, you're trying to play, like, okay, like, you know, we're actually depleting, like, now, and it's not quite now. So how do we actually, like, not go full ape shit? And your body just starts churning through fucking everything. And I've had it even like at Graftism when I like ate like 4,000 grams of carbs and lost 12 pounds. and like, so sometimes it's like, shit, it went too far and now your metabolism's just upside down. Like,
and that's it. And yet you almost feel like, so hold on, the purpose of what we're trying to do is we're trying to make me full, right? We're trying to fill out my glycogen stores, we're trying to make me full as fuck. I'm losing weight off. Like, have I fucked it? And then that starts playing in your head as well, right? And it's the mental aspect of that is something that I don't think people talk about. Start really like downplaying yourself, and even the way you hold yourself when you're not feeling that confident. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't hold yourself in the same way when you don't feel like you're at your best.
Yeah, and a carb up and like looking full can often not actually yield a weight change.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, it's okay, it's cool, maybe bounce another. I've never had like a carb up and I put on 10 pounds or anything like that. People like used to talk about carb up. You know, you're going to do this, but you're going to complete here, then you're going to put on like 15 pounds. So I'm probably going to be about 30 stone on stage. You know, people talking about it when they're like, yeah, but after carb up, I'm going to be 30 stone. And it's like, you're probably not. Like, you know, if you could put on like 2 or 3, like, yeah, it'd be good.
Hey, mate, do you know what? This actually something I really want to talk about. Like, people's opinion of body weight really fucking me off. Like, I was lighter on this prep than I was in 2018. Okay? I stepped on stage at 116 kilos in 2018. I went down to 112.9 this prep, and psychologically, you're like, wow, what, am I that much smaller? No. Like, you need to really fuck off the scales.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's you, like, obviously.
No, like it's a thing. The relationship.
Like, for younger guys coming in, forget the fucking body weight. Just get in shape.
That's the thing. A lot of people, they have the number in their head because otherwise, if they're not that number, they're massive. And loads of people are like not telling you the number, or some people just weigh more.
Yeah.
Some people like way more. What was Nathan Stiles and Josh Law on stage, like 285?
It's mental.
Like, mental. I mean, they're tall, but they're also just heavy people. Do you know what I mean? They'd be shit swimmers.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think I weighed in at like 250, which was the same as Scottish Titans. Scottish Titans like half a foot shorter than me. Some people are just lighter. I'm not saying I'm bigger than them, but I'm just saying that there is disparity in weight.
Yeah.
So don't go and look at someone and go, yeah, I should weigh that. Like,
Flex Lewis is the walk-in example of that.
Well, yeah, just bird bones.
Yeah,
he's just got small bits of jelly held together by muscle.
He's officially retired.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone wants to look back at the podcasts, but I called it.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, she was probably. I think it's one of those ones, isn't it? Like, whilst I think if he'd made that switch over a bit earlier in his career, he could have made a success of the open class. I just think
his contract just run out.
Yeah, I just think it could taint his legacy, turning over to like switching over to the open class now with only like a couple of years left, even at a push. I think,
I'm not saying that he couldn't have done it, but would you take the risk of being the greatest ever at something and then possibly not be the greatest ever?
Yeah.
Like, it was like when Kevin Levrone came back. It's like, oh, why did you do that? Like, you're everyone's hero. Everyone's a Levrone fan, right? Like, and then he went and did the thing. Don't get me wrong, still an amazing thing, but I want to remember the other Levrone.
Hold on a minute, though, but when it happened, weren't you loving it?
No.
Well, I was. When I heard that he was coming back, I was like, fuck yeah. I don't know. That's just how my brain works. When Flex Music did the same, I was fucking loving it too. As a bodybuilder fan, I accept that it's going to be different, but I loved it. It was nostalgic. It was nice.
No, I just think...
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. You're entitled to that. I mean, then, yeah, the nostalgia was like ruining the nostalgia for me.
Yeah, I think ultimately, if they were able to recreate the physique that they had back in the day...
If they just came back like 1990, like Night of Champions.
Yeah, that'd have been something.
I feel like I like that kind of stuff. I don't know, like when bands come back and they probably shouldn't.
Yeah, like when Busted teamed up with McFly to make McBusted. I remember seeing a flyer for McBusted, and I was like, "Wow,
yeah, come on, that's my shit."
That is what I was there, obviously.
I like it. Sometimes I guess it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I like that shit. I don't know.
AC/DC did a good tour.
Yeah, like Metallica are my favourite band.
But they were definitely too old.
Metallica are pushing 60, but I'm like, come on, guys, let's have another fucking world tour. Come on.
Do you remember when Metallica did that gig with like Lady Gaga, and then his like mic didn't work, so he like threw his guitar in the face of the roadie?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit shit that they teamed up with her, but I don't know. I like to be entertained in whatever means
whatever thing of Lady Gaga, she is talented.
Yeah.
No, she's, and you know, she's actually a massive Metallica fan as well. She's
okay as long as she's a Metallica fan.
That's the important bit.
I'm
kind of weird like that. I like knowing the result of something before I watch it as well. I'm a bit backwards in the way that I'm entertained. Like if there's a match on something, I'll go and find the result and then I'll watch it.
So, Ryan Mackins, not the bodybuilder. Tell us something interesting about you then. Tell us something that's not bodybuilding, coaching, something. Obviously, we now know that you took copious amount of cocaine in your earlier years. Like an interesting fact, like something that you enjoy doing, a skill.
Oh, okay. I've got a couple.
Tromboning.
I play the drums. And I played in. Fun enough, I played when I was 15. I played a few in a Metallica cover band.
Nice.
Yes.
And I actually started playing again in prep, like to alleviate some boredom. There's like you can go and rent a drum kit just around the corner from my house. So I was like playing drums.
I just sold mine.
Oh, were you a drummer as well?
Yeah.
You were a singer and a drummer.
Yeah, I hadn't played them for so long. They were sat in the garage, so I just sold them.
Drums are just one of those things that I knew my parents would never let me have, even though they were both professional musicians. It was like, you need to play something that you can turn off.
Oh man, yeah, they're so obnoxious, aren't they? Fuck me.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, and Dan, so you play bass, Johnny, you sing, I play drums. I'm just hey. Out there.
We can do it.
Me and Ryan definitely have one of the most contrasting musical tastes ever.
Oh yeah, in the car the other day, you didn't like it, huh?
Mate, I'm like I like Motown and soul.
Oh, shit.
And it was like
it was Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a bit of heavy metal, but I just like the slap upon the bass.
Slapping the bass, man. What about you, John? What do you like?
What do I like music-wise? Yes. I'm somewhere in between. So, like, I like heavy music for training, but, like, I'm more acoustic. I'm more, like, bluesy stuff for chilling and singing and all that stuff, Like, So yeah, it's the only thing I don't like, I think, is like hardcore trance music. That's like the only thing I don't particularly enjoy.
It's because the drugs. You need the drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
Hardcore trance is
I was going to say they don't even like it. The people who like it don't like it. They don't. They don't.
I mean, they're pulling the faces that tell me that they don't like it, which is. That might be the drugs. 5.
You have to get off your nut just to listen to it. I don't know, man.
You have to.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that. Not sold on that.
Well, I mean, don't know. I mean, I've been there. Not trance nights though. But, yeah.
No, I've been told that. I got told last night by my girlfriend's brother. He said, "You like heavy metal, you're probably going to like drum and bass." He reckons there's like a link to that because
there are some links, and actually the live drum and bass band that I was in did link.
Sorry, what? Sorry, what?
Did link ripping guitar solos with drum and bass. So maybe I'll send you a link to.
They did the corn mix, didn't they? They did the corn mix, the drum and bass mix. That was good.
Well, and Pendulum were a rock band, and then they turned into drum and bass. Pendulum, are amazing.
Yeah, I like some Pendulum. They've done a collaboration with a band called In Flames. I don't know if you've heard of that. Yeah, I quite like that song. Can I actually? So music, I really struggle to listen to music on prep. You guys have this problem too.
Well, you don't like it.
It's to do with attention span. Do you have this problem? So basically, if I put a film on, I can't really concentrate. I'm just kind of a bit like, shut the fuck up. You know, I don't really know what I want. And I don't know if you have that as well.
I mean, I have that my entire life, just so you know, because I don't have an attention span. So yeah, I just, when I'm on prep, I watch shit films like with The Rock in them. That sort of thing. You know, things where it doesn't matter, like if you have a wank during it, or like if you leave the room
over the rock, like,
or go, of course, or like you go in the other room, or you're sick on yourself, or you've got to make things that there's no plot. You can just dip in and dip out, and you know, like brain chewing gum, I call it, like the shows that you don't really need to like actually watch, but they're on.
Music is my escape on prep. It's like it's what sort of takes, like, and that's why the whole singing thing as well. Like singing for me, obviously, I'm not professionally trained, and I have no ambition to ever sing in public. I just enjoy it. Just fucking chills me the fuck out.
Yeah,
I like playing when I'm on prep and stuff like that. Just the monotonous grooves of psychedelic funk running through my veins. But in terms of listening to music, I will find a track that I like, and I will play that track on repeat for my whole session.
Yeah, the whole session.
Yeah, I'll play one song for the whole session, often, and sometimes for a whole week.
Oh man, what? Yeah. I often find I like a song and then I kill it by doing something similar.
I mean, that is what I do, and then I shelf it and I visit it later. But sometimes I'll just listen to a tune and it'll just get me. And then also it's the musician where I'm analysing like why it's getting me and like what it is about it and breaking it down into like, oh, there's 5 decibels of compression on the kick drum. So, and then I never want to listen to it ever again. So, but I am that, I'm like all or nothing.
See, I'm envious of this. You both have got like an escape. So one of the people assume on prep that the hardest thing is going to be hunger. And honestly, me and Amy, we've been talking about this. The hardest thing is no attention span. The music no longer sounds that good. I want to eat, I'm not going to eat. I want to drive, but I don't want to drive. I want to put a film on, but I don't really want to. You know what I mean? I'm insatiable. And it was, oh my God.
I think we were having this conversation about you and others who create content during prep earlier, actually, because I admire the fact that whilst you say that, you still had the mental fortitude while suffering to be able to put some really good content together. I have all the best will in the world and intention. I even spent like 600 quid on a camera to do this prep. I've done fuck all. I just can't.
Oh, man. So I've actually ordered a podcast set, which is under my stairs. I ordered this.
Well, and you didn't set it up for us.
Didn't set it up. No, man. I'm a little bit embarrassed now. I don't fucking how to. Anyway, like, that's another fucking story. I bought this gimbal as well, and I don't really know how it works when I bought it. And the amount of times I wanted to just go, fuck, I can't be fucked. I thought to myself, do you know what? Future you will thank you.
You are right.
Yeah, and
it's like a lot of what Amp says about that. It's like it's for the memory banks. you know, and okay, you put it on socials, because I can't buy into this content for others. I can't buy into it. But he is right. Like, you will want to look at this, and also the technology later will allow you to access everything you've ever made, like really easily. You know, it will be amazing to, like, when you're older, go, oh, play 2020.
Yeah, absolutely.
On whatever, fucking, whilst you're living in a pod up your own anus or whatever.
That's it,
with
man.
Monkey pox just oozing out your eyes, vaccines into your genitals. I mean,
2022 as a year, like the prep, it was fantastic, and I've got it all recorded, and I'm like, fuck. In 10 years from now, I'm gonna be like, thank fuck I did that. But trust me, there were countless times where I was like, fuck that. And actually, I actually put this in the bin because it wound me up. I couldn't work it, and it kept going. And I was like, fuck.
What was it doing?
Now listen.
Can you tell me what noise it made again?
Yeah, like that, and it kept fucking spinning, and I was like, get fucked, right? And I was on my ass on prep, and I shut up. And I walked outside, and I put it in the bin. I was like, no. But then I was like, I don't know, it was like 150 quid, so I went and got it again. But there were so many times where I was like, this is a little shit, and who even gives a fuck? Like, why am I so self-indulgent? No one gives a shit. But now, I'm glad. Now I'm glad.
No, I think it is, and that's the other thing as well. Is that, like, you're like, who gives a fuck? And it's like, well, you probably will at some point.
Yeah,
when it's all gone and it's all done, I think you're right. I always think that I'm gonna film stuff and I don't. Yeah. A great intention, but in my mind, I don't even want to say it, but I am planning on doing that because I'm going to quit my job and be a bodybuilder for at least 1 year. So I was going to try and film, like, parts of it. Does it make a fucking difference? Like, does it actually make a difference, or actually, you know? So I wanted to kind of explore that myself, and I guess maybe sharing that for someone might be useful. Does it actually, you know, can you say, oh, I can't, I've got a job, and I've worked loads of mad fucking jobs, worked fucking 20-hour shifts or whatever, like, and done all right. Does it actually make a difference when you just do it, or do you just turn insane?
Here's the thing, mate, like, you can analyze and fucking pick apart everything, or you can just do it. Like, if I were to really break down who cares about my YouTube, the answer is probably about 3 people, right? But who gives a fuck? Because just do it. Just fucking do it. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at the people you reach. And ultimately, it's a business too, right? What you just said, Dan, you said about quitting your job and things like that. I honestly believe you should start vlogging bits now. Because people seeing the process of the transition from a normal job to doing this at a high level, there's value in it, mate. There's value in it, and it can translate to money.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, even just for myself, like, is it actually make a difference? Have I hindered myself, like, working? But maybe that's just a me thing. I've always had a very busy mind, and I've always been really busy, and I'm not sure that I'll actually manage to actually even successfully do a year.
The thing is, Dan, right, is whilst you want to create content for you and not for others, I get that principle. It is still a business that you're going to be generating. And ultimately it does lend itself hand in hand, which is why I guess the initiative for me is not strong enough. Like, having a professional job, having 3 children, the time it takes and the effort it takes to record that stuff and chop it up is literally the time I've got spare in my day that I'm doing those little things. So it doesn't provide any sort of financial gain for me. For you two, ultimately, it could make the difference between, I don't know, maybe even an extra 5-10 clients a month. That's a lot of money. Do you know what I mean?
What I found is that since I did it, and there was not much traction at the beginning, there's a little bit more now, and it certainly does translate to something. And to say, if you analyze everything, you'll never do anything. You're like, so there has to be a point where you go, do you know what? I'm going to do it. And if it's done with the right intentions, you're doing it for yourself. You're not trying to be, you know, I'm not trying to be like Mr. YouTube. You're just doing it for yourself. People buy into you. And, you know, as you say, it could translate into an extra 2, 3, 4, 5 clients a month. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, man.
5 top tips. 5 top tips. So
5 top tips.
You've got to give us 5 top tips. And I think you've actually given us one, and I'll let you have it, because 5 can be a lot. And that is, if you analyse something long enough, you won't fucking do it. And I personally think that's exactly what's wrong with a lot of modern bodybuilding, is that people want to sit around and analyse it forever and enjoy the idea and not actually do it. So I'm going to give you that one, because it's a strong 5. It's a strong number 1.
Then the other ones. Okay, the other one would be, the first one that came to my mind is then the opposite of what we just spoke about.
Always analyse everything.
Never analyse anything, but also
always analyse and never do.
No. Creating content without having anything to back it up with. There's a bit of a culture now where we're sort of almost inundated with, fuck it, I'm just going to say, I don't even care if I'm offensive, 70-kilo fucking dickhead bodybuilders who have done half a show and like not even placed, and like they're like telling you about my journey to the pro stage. You're like, fuck off, honestly. Like, seriously, at what point do we have to just say, shut the fuck up, grow some muscle, then maybe we'll listen to you? Right? So that's number 2. I put that in your fucking.
Was that a tip? I'm not. Was there a tip to be had?
I think
let me give it into a tip form.
The point being is have some content actually put out there rather than just talking shit.
But I'd be fucked. Talking shit is my game. This whole podcast.
It's a different kind of. Yeah, but that's a different.
You're gonna have to delete it all, Johnny. I'm reinventing myself.
Now, do you know what, man? Like, ultimately, it's just my opinion, and
I know.
There might be a load of people who are like, no, but it's, they're just trying to make their way. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But I feel like you should have at least something to back up. That would be my opinion. Be something before you're trying to create something out of nothing.
I think we've thought about it too much, which contradicts number 1. So let's go to 3.
So we're back to 0 again.
Number 2 was the opposite of 1, and then that one was said. So, all right, we've just got 2 more. 1 and 2.
Okay. 3, we've spoken about it as well. 3, if you have a coach, listen to them. Otherwise, don't fucking bother. Seriously, fucking seriously. The moment you start to second guess your coach, add in this, take away this, they're irrelevant, right? So you either do or you don't. That's it. Listen to your coach. Number 3.
Can't mix and match.
Why did I feel like you were pointing at me then, right?
You.
All of you cunts.
No, there's so many people, like so many, even of my clients, every single week, they're like, well, I did this and I did that. And I'm like, okay, mate.
Or they're like, well, what? I spoke to someone else and they told me, shut up! Shut up about someone else!
Do you pay them or do you pay me?
Yeah. You can't mix and match methodologies. You need one. There's more than one. There's more than one way to do it. There is more than one way to do it, but there isn't like mixing them all up. That's not a thing. That's just nothing.
Yeah, it's not like this is the only way. No. But you buy into that way and then you go with it, right? And that's it.
Finale. The big one.
What am I? I'm on 3.
I think that's.
No, that was 3. So we got one. We got 2
4.
more.
I've got a good one because actually this really relates to me. And in fact, you and I spoke about this, Johnny, and Dan, I believe we spoke about it before. You don't just have to lift heavy all the fucking time. You can make ample, in fact, incredibly good progress by lifting well with good intent and good intensity. But intensity, and I'm not talking about load and poundages on the bar, I'm talking about intensity about how hard you're pushing yourself. So not just looking for load on the bar. I think it's a really good one because I used to do it for years and years, and I wasn't necessarily seeing progress, and I was injuring myself, all that you can all relate to. So yeah, lifting smart. You don't just have to put weight on for the sake of weight.
But it is fun.
Obviously, lifting heavy is fun, and there's a time to push those boundaries. But we're not weightlifters. We're using weights to train muscles. It's different.
Absolutely.
And
they're tools to load up the muscle. That's it.
It's I mean, now because I'm old, my last resort is putting weight on the bar. I literally will actively avoid it.
But let's have it right. Like in an ideal world, we'd all load the fuck out of everything.
Ryan, I'd like to caveat that. Dan's idea of not loading the bar up is everybody's idea of loading the bar up. So let's not get like pussyfoot around the fact that Dan is no longer putting 100-kilo dumbbells on his chest. No, but he's still putting 80-kilo dumbbells on his chest. Do you know what I mean? Like
pussy weight, yeah. Pussy weight. Well, what I found is, like, for example, you know, on prep I went up to 80 incline dumbbells. But what was actually moving the weight? Was it my chest? Not really. You know, I was moving the weight and I was repping it fine. But someone with a weak chest, and when I say weak chest, I mean in terms of hypertrophy, I don't mean strength. So my chest is actually a bit shit. So instead of using 80, maybe go to about 50 and think about what I'm doing. Say again.
A bit shit.
It's just a bit shit. It just is. I've got to face facts, mate. So what's moving the weight? And I've learned over the years that I tend to just move weight if I don't think about it. So, yeah.
And your strength will just take over. You know, like I've always had amazing activation in my chest, and that was the one thing I could lift heavy, and it would go all to my chest. And so people that can do that, then do it.
Right.
But the chances are that you don't need to worry about those body parts where you do that because they're going to take after. So go and put your head into something that is a weakness.
Yeah, absolutely. I can load up my back. I can do really heavy rows. And my back responds great. I do the same with chest and my delts.
But your back's still only third best. 5.
Don't nibble on everything. Number 5. How to grow a back with Dan and Johnny. No.
Maybe a relationship one. Obviously, you prep together with Amy throughout the prep.
You don't prep together. You prep at the same time.
Yeah. You're just coexisting. You're not actually.
You don't prep together.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one because, mate, there's pros and cons with everything, right? She gets it, but also having someone else who is that highly strung. You know, on prep, you know, your tensions are just higher. So there was pros and cons, mate. There were moments where she was unbearable. There were moments where I was unbearable. But ultimately, we met in the middle. We both got it, and to both become, you know, have that crescendo that we both became pro on the same day, the same show. It was like, I don't know if that's ever happened.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, actually, because I remember like when doing a show with me and Ellis, I was probably more worried about Ellis's result than my own, and it kind of like I was like, oh, and then you know like if when I did shit as well, I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, mate, do you know what? Prep is quite selfish, right? You end up thinking about yourself. But Amy kept saying to me, "Stop steamrolling my prep." So I think this is. I'm gonna condense this to a tip now. As I say, the 5th tip.
Yeah, that was it.
Really trying not to be selfish on prep, remembering that you're still a person and you're not just a bodybuilder going for a show. That you still have responsibility and you know you still need to be there for your partner. You still need to be there for your children. You need to be there for a son, a brother. Life isn't just about competing. You still need to have balance with everything else. So trying not to be selfish.
Balance.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's not balance, but you need to make a conscious effort that you're psychologically going to turn into a cunt. And just be more aware to actually make an effort to do the things that you would have naturally done. This
actually is quite a funny example. So about 3 years ago, I was on prep and my youngest daughter came up to me and said, "Dad, can you go get a teddy from the top shelf up in the bedroom?" And I was sat on the sofa and I was fucked. And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Oh," and she just walked off. I had to have a word with myself. John, get a fucking grip. I walked up, got the teddy, brought it down to her. She was absolutely over the moon. But literally had to sit there and have a fucking, like a stern word with myself, because one thing I've always maintained is, no offense, in my life, women come and go. So I'm not particularly that bothered. But when it comes to my children, I will not let them suffer for something that I've chosen to do, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's just recognizing that. It's recognizing that you are going to go into yourself and be selfish. And like I said, making a conscious effort to do the things that you would naturally do, because you're going to turn into a bit of a hermit Belland.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, yeah. So it's damage limitation, right? You can either be a complete cunt, or you can be a cunt with shades of like fucking salt, mate. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't be a complete cunt. You know it's going to happen, but just. Yeah.
Yeah. What do they call that when it's like Fitzel? When you know, the Cougar effect, where they lock
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. So you like lock them in a cage, but you give them like half a rice cake, and then they're like, "Oh my god, I know I weigh 4 stone, I'm dying. You've locked me here for 4 years, but I love you because the half a rice cake." So you just got to give.
That defines my relationship with you, Dan.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that where you're recording this from? Dan's basement.
Yeah. That's exactly how this whole prep has gone. But
that's why this is all blurred out, because it's actually just the limbs.
Is that Johnny down there?
Yeah, this little smudge here.
It's a morsel of chicken. There you go, right?
Right. Ryan, it's been amazing, pal. Unconscious times getting on, and I'm
a bit annoyed that you didn't slag each other off and hate each other. That's a bit annoying.
Well,
do you know what, man? I realised I've been quite selfish in one sense. I just had a client place at a show, and I haven't even fucking spoke to her.
Oof.
Time to go.
On that bombshell.
Should we record a group message for her? Come on, let's do it for the Bash Bros.
Her name's Maddie, and it looks like
Maddie. All right, cool.
What's she plays?
And let me find out.
Oh, hold on. This could be. We might need to edit this out.
It might be bronze or it might be gold. I can't work out. It looks like bronze. She's got third.
Is that what show was that?
She's happy. Oh, good.
No. We're going to record her a video. So put your camera on and record the screen. We're going to record her a video.
Okay, yeah. So her name's Maddie, and she's done UK DFBA.
I can't say that. I'm just going to say Maddie, because I can't remember those in order.
Okay, here we go.
Are we ready?
Recording.
Okay, Maddie, congratulations on your 3rd place. I'm sorry that Ryan was shit with his phone, but he was doing a podcast with us. But he loves you really, and so do we. Sebastian Bros, yeah! Smashed it.
Perfect.
Right, I'm out. I love you all. Peace out.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Peace and out.
Take care.
Cheers, boys.
Bye.